If you think you do not qualify for the Rhodes Scholarship and you don't see yourself at Oxford University ever, I need you to think again, because by the end of the I am going to convince you how you can make yourself to be an ideal candidate for the Rhodes Scholarship. And of course, you may be thinking, oh, am I sure? Just hold on. I'm going to break it down for you. So let's start with the myth versus the reality. So many people always think that in order to apply for the scholarship, you need you need to be a flawless, untouchable genius who has already solved major world problems and holds a perfect resume and possesses purely academic predetermined destiny. They are here to tell you that that is not the case. The reality is that you just need to be a deeply self-aware person, highly driven individual who is impatient with the status quo, and they are a work in progress who maximizes whatever small resources they currently have in order to uplift others, with a big insistence on whatever small resources. It just reminds me of the Bible story that says that if they can trust you with small things, then they can trust you with big things. Because what this scholarship is really asking is, you may come from whatever background, you don't have enough, you don't have a lot, but what have you been able to do with those small things that you have? Because if you've been able to do something with those small things that you have, then we can put you in a position to give you more to be able to do more. Okay, so let's look at the baseline, getting into the room here. The first thing is you need to be from the constituency. This is actually Rhodes, West Africa. So you need to be a citizen from one of those 19 countries. You need to be between 18 to 24 years old, and you need to have a first-class degree or something equivalent. And I know that some of you may be like, oh my goodness, Dr. Sylvie, I do not have a first-class degree, but I think you should not give up on that yet, because they said or equivalent, which means that there is some kind of a room for flexibility. Just keep watching to see, maybe, just maybe, you can be a good enough candidate for the scholarship. All right, so let's look at the 4 pillars of an ideal candidate. So when we talk about the ideal candidate for this scholarship, who exactly it is that they are looking for. Okay, so you have here the 4 pillars. And intellect, they are looking for academic excellence. They want to be sure that you're someone who has a love for learning, and because that is Oxford is that kind of an environment. And then you have energy, like you're using your talents to the fullest, mastery in sports, music, debate, or collaborative artistic pursuits, that you're doing those type of things like outside of your schoolwork. And then you have virtues, which are truth, courage, devotion of duty, unselfishness, and protection of the weak. And then you have leadership skills, which is a moral force of character, the instinct to lead and take initiative. So I know that, of course, some of you may just see that intellect, the academic excellence, and it turns you off. But as you can see, it is just 1 out of 4 different things that you need in order to be an ideal Rhodes Scholar. So you may not be scoring perfect on the GPA side, but if you're able to justify how you score really well on the other side, you may have a shot at getting this scholarship. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say here. There is no single type. Okay, there is no perfect Rhodes Scholar. The trust does not prioritize one specific profession, university, or background over the other. Your goal is not to mimic a past winner, but to clearly demonstrate how you are fighting the world's fight from your unique vantage point. Okay, so you have the medical researcher, innovative healthcare delivery in rural Nigeria, and you also have the litigator heading to The Hague to fight for international human rights. And then you have the artist that is building a community through grassroots theater in Accra. I think the real thing that they are really trying to see is, what kind of a person are you? Are you a leader? Are you someone who is able to take the small resources, no matter, because this is Rhodes West Africa, right? So they are trying to, the examples that they are trying to give here is examples of students from West Africa who are using the nothing that they have in order to make something of it. Are you that kind of a person? If you are, you can actually be chosen for this scholarship. Okay, so what is it that they are prioritizing? They are prioritizing traction over perfection. For example, these are you have the actions taken, the resources available. So you see, the ideal candidate is someone that starts a local mentoring group with 0 budget. right? That is somebody that they are going to, that is an ideal candidate. Like you had nothing, but you decided to start a mentoring group. Like for me, I was searching for scholarships, and in order to do that, I applied for a job at a cyber cafe because I knew that my mom did not have enough money for me to like continue buying internet for me, and I knew that I had to figure out a way. So I went and got a job at a cyber cafe. So it's like, what did you do with the limited resources? Did you just put your hands up and give up, or what did you do? That is what they're analyzing. But here you see someone who has joined 10 clubs, but they did not be a leader of any. So that person, yeah, may be busy, but that person is not an ideal candidate for the scholarship because they are not seeing any leadership qualities in them. A person who is a leader is someone who is going to be like, all right, I'm going to join these 10 clubs and I'm going to be a leader in 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, or all of them. That shows signs of leadership, okay? So if you truly care about an issue, you will have already started working on with whatever small resources you currently possess. Applying for the scholarship is a byproduct of your passions and interests. You don't need to have opened an NGO to demonstrate leadership. Exactly. So you don't have to. That's why I'm saying that I started this video by saying, if you think that you are not an ideal candidate for the scholarship, it's probably because you've not taken time to really self-reflect on the things that you have done. It can even just be being a class prefect. It can be being some kind of a leader at whatever, or something that you did that to you, it may just be like, it's small, but that is already a sign of a leader being birthed in you, okay? So let's look at how they select this ideal candidate, because the idea of this video is for you to understand what they are looking for, so that you can sort of craft yourself as someone that is like an ideal candidate for the scholarship, okay? So you have the self, you have others, you have the world. All those things have to be interacting with each other. Self-awareness, so you have which Rhodes Scholar quality do you display most strongly? How are you actively working to develop the others? Okay, those are the things in terms of yourself. Community, drawing on past experiences. What do you hope to contribute to and learn from the diverse communities at Oxford, right? And then the impact from your specific place in the world. What is humanity's greatest need, and how will your talents help address that? So there has to be this kind of an interaction between the self, between things outside of you, and then the change that you want to make in the world. And if you are someone that is busy already helping to make that happen, the chances that you can get the scholarship is actually very high, okay? So let's look at what kind of a candidate in terms of an ideal Rhodes Scholar is it that they are looking for. They are looking for focus. Your focus, a good candidate focus recites their chronological list of awards and achievements, but an ideal Rhodes candidate is actually exploring the personal motivations behind each of those achievements. So you're not just listing them out, but you're talking about what motivated you to do that particular program or get the award, right? Vulnerability, a good candidate hides the flaws, presents a polished, infallible exterior. A Rhodes, an ideal scholar, shows profound self-awareness, where you can be self-critical of things that you should have done better, or how you handled particular situations, and then awareness of their limitations and areas of growth, right? And then the Oxford rationale. You want to attend Oxford because it's a prestigious university. That is the logic of someone that is a good Rhodes candidate. But an ideal candidate, they need specific Oxford professors, courses to solve highly specific worldly problems. So you can just let me know in the comment section. Number one, what problem in the world are you interested in solving? And if you are to go to the UK, at Oxford University, what department would you like to join? What professors would you like to work with? Because that exercise, what it does for you, it just helps you go and do a quick research on what are the options that are available, and then you can already start aligning yourself on which options should you apply, should names, departments that you can already start making a list of, right? So now let's look at the personal statement. As an ideal candidate for the Rhodes Scholar, what is it that they are looking for? They are looking that you should connect the dots, okay? You have your past, you have your present, you have your future, that you have to sort of make it all count in this 1,000-word essay, which is not a biography. You have to have some logic in it, and you have to show that going to Oxford is like the next logical step that you're going, okay? So you have your past, your lived experiences, grievances, inspirations, how they shaped your worldview. And then you have your present, your current academic traction, grassroots actions, what are the things you're doing right now, your future. This is how a specific Oxford education bridges the gap between who you are today and the impact that you want to make in the world, okay? You need to be able to show that, and in showing that you're talking about professors, departments, programs that you want to study, how do they link to the things that the changes that you want to make in the world. And you have to be very, very specific. That's why I was asking for you to give me names and departments in the comment section, because you have to be specific, okay? Let's look at the academic fit, right? This is Oxford University. An ideal candidate has to have a good fit. Professors, departments, as I was talking about earlier. So the ideal candidate doesn't just want a scholarship. They specifically require an Oxford education. Your academic statement must demonstrate deep renaissance, extensive research into the specific degree, pinpointing the exact course and faculty members, what I just asked you right now in the comment section, right? The why, a clear rationale for why this exact training is essential to amplify your future impact. Then the capacity. Absolute proof that you can handle Oxford's rigorous, self-directed academic environment. At the end of the day, this is you just proving that you are, because the Oxford is one of the best in terms of rankings. One of the, I think is the highest ranked university in the UK, and it should probably be in the top in the world, right? So you just have to be able to justify that you can survive that kind of an environment. Like, what have you done in your past that shows that you are that kind of a disciplined person? Because in this case, it's important to show and not tell, because if you're just telling, you'll be like, okay, yeah, anybody can tell, but not everybody can show, because you show by what you've been doing in your past, right? All right, the invisible layer, cultivating references. You cannot declare yourself the ideal candidate. Others must validate it for you. You require 4 to 6 highly detailed references. So you have to actually go and sit with the people that you want to write your recommendation letters, have a one-on-one chat with them, explain why you want to apply for the scholarship, such that they can have enough information to write in those recommendation letters. And they are sort of backing your character. They have to prove raw personal examples of that you're a moral character. They are confirming your academics. They must confirm that you're in the top 1 to 5% of your cohort. That's why I was saying it's not just 1%, 1 to 5%. So yes, it can be first class, but also, as long as you're in the top 5%, that is still okay. And your referees should not be people who only incidentally know you. You have to start building relationships with them, because at the end of the day, these people are going to be writing recommendation letters, and it is not just that particular recommendation letter. You want them to have enough information about you such that when you apply for other scholarships too, you can go back to them. So it's always important to build a rapport and a relationship with your recommenders, okay? So let's look at the final stage here. How are you going to be an ideal candidate? You have to also do well in your interview, okay? So they are going to ask you about the social engagement. Finalists must attend a dinner event before the interview, and then a monologue. You should be prepared to do a 5-minute opening pitch of your past, present, and future. And then the defense, the panel will rigorously probe your worldview. I think I'm going to gradually do a video that will actually cover this into details and break it down into tiny bits. So if you do not understand everything now, especially in terms of these documents and everything, that is okay. The goal of this video is to help you remember how to think like an ideal scholar. And if you're able to think like the ideal scholar, then you can craft your application in a way that shows you as an ideal scholar, and that is how you're going to get the scholarship. So the blueprint is your deep reflection phase. You have to do a lot of deep reflection. Ask why, audit your mind, embrace your drafts, and protect your voice. It is important that you sit with yourself and ask yourself a ton of questions, because when you do that, that is how you get to understanding. Because as I said already, in the essays, you're not proving how much of a perfect person you are, or these are the awards that I'm listing. No, you're explaining why did you apply for that award, why did you get it, and how did that make you feel. Those type of things, very personal things, you have to be able to show them in your application, okay? So the ideal candidate from West Africa is not a finished product or an untouchable genius. They are brilliant, they're empathetic, they're energetic, they're a work in progress. They possess the self-awareness to know their flaws, the clarity to see what their community needs, and the courage to use Oxford education to go fight the world's fight. So that is actually what they are looking for. And if you have this kind of idea, you know that you can craft it perfectly to tell the story of why you are a good fit for this scholarship. I hope that this helps you understand that you do not have to be a genius in order to be considered for the scholarship. As long as you're good enough, you can make progress towards it. I hope that this was helpful. Please do also like the video. And I'm actually going to be breaking down in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be breaking down all the parts of the application, the essays that you have to write, the interviews that you have to go through. We will break all of it down into bits and pieces such that you do not get lost. So if you are applying, do also subscribe to this channel, turn the notifications on, like the video, because it goes really far to help the channel grow. So please like. I am going to see you all in the next one. Peace.